According to the College Football Playoff Committee, Tulane controls its own destiny. And that was kind of a surprise. I don't think a lot of people had Tulane as the top team in the group of five. They head to Temple this weekend and they need to win out if they're going to, one, win an American Conference championship, and two, get to the college football playoff. They also have some interesting remarks from their head coach that we'll dive into here. John Summerall is not happy with how his team is playing, or at least not satisfied with how his team is playing. And he made that evident with the comments that he made. And I don't know if I would have gone that far, but it's clear that he's trying to send a message to his team for the final few games. These aren't games you're going to walk into and just expect to win. You do not just get to walk around in the American and come out with a win. You don't get to sleepwalk your way through those games. And Temple is a very underrated team. A lot of people are sleeping on the Temple Owls. And in a way, I feel like John Summerall is trying to tell this team, hey, if you're not careful, Temple is going to beat you. Also, the American Conference Championship game, whoever they play, that is going to be a tough game. They are going to have to be focused. And there can be an argument when you look at the stats, you look at the numbers for Tulane, they have shown flashes of explosiveness, of disruptiveness. But overall, I think that there have been moments where you leave something to be desired. And Summerall is very aware of that. And if anything, I think that it shows that he is still dialed in on his team. It shows that with everybody talking about him potentially leaving for another job, it tells his team, you better focus because I'm still here. I am still in charge and I am focused on getting this team where it needs to be. I'm not leaving anymore. And we're going to refocus and make sure that we're playing our best football. And he's also kind of said that his focus for other jobs doesn't start until the end of the season and towards the end of the season, even postseason, wherever he actually starts at, it's not during the regular season. So if that is true, even though there were reports that he was potentially going to meet with Florida, which ended up not being true, this is a guy who has said, I am focused on my current team. I will deal with that stuff later. And I think that message shows that that's what he wants. That's what he is going to do for his team, because this is a team in Tulane that it can play a lot better than what it's been playing. When you look at some of their recent games, only beating FAU 35-24, even the Memphis game, they were in dominant control of that game until Memphis made a late comeback and Tulane kind of just coasted to that win. UTSA gave them a wake-up call as well. So this team is beatable, and John Summerall knows that. So how do you get your team to play better? It starts with the quarterback position. Jake Retzlaff has shown at times he can be very good. He's also shown that passing wise, not always the greatest quarterback. So whether or not he is going to be their guy consistently going forward as QB1 remains to be the question. Maybe Brennan Sullivan is going to be that guy. You've seen it week in and week out. There have been questions about Jake Retzlaff. So now you're going to wonder about that going forward. He has an opportunity in front of him to show that, hey, I am the guy. And he has 3 opportunities before the playoff. As long as they win the next 2, they're going to be in the American Conference Championship, and they're going to have an opportunity to play for a playoff spot. And this is an offense that is the X factor of this team. I think the defense is extremely disruptive. I think that they have the ability to slow teams down, but they've also shown signs that they can struggle as well. I just think I've seen a little bit more consistency from this defense than I have the offense. Jake Retzlaff is the perfect example, though. If he is consistent, this team is very good. If he's not, that's where they get in trouble. And you're facing a Temple team that isn't going to be elite on either side of the ball, but they are more than capable of pulling off an upset. Casey Keeler has done a great job at Temple. And when you look at their quarterback, you've seen him take great strides. Evan Simon is flying under the radar. Throwing for over 1,800 yards, he has 22 touchdowns to just 1 interception. So if you're expecting Temple to turn the ball over, you got to find other ways than to pick off Evan Simon. Now, maybe that's because he's tentative, but you don't throw 22 touchdowns if you're a tentative quarterback. Now, it's not like he's a gunslinger. It's not like he's throwing for 3,000 yards this year, but this is a team that is very careful with what they do offensively. They're very in control of the football, and they make sure that they don't make mistakes. The rushing attack has been solid. Bringing in Jevian Ducker was one of the best moves that Keeler could have made. And obviously, he was familiar with him from his time at Sam Houston. He was the leading rusher there. And Ducker has led the team with 729 yards and 6 touchdowns. Surprisingly, one of the bigger surprises is that Evan Simon's actually been a factor as a runner. That's not something I think a lot of people anticipated coming into this year, and they're going to need that in this game. Tulane's defensive line can be a menace. Just ask any team that they've played for the most part. This is a defensive line that can get to the quarterback. And if they don't have the mobility to escape that pressure, then Simon's in for a long, long night. Now, this is going to be a really interesting group to watch defensively because teams have given Temple the blueprint for how to disrupt Tulane's offense, how to slow them down. It's just that we haven't seen a ton of teams do that. Now, you do need the offensive firepower to be able to move the ball because if your defense slows down Tulane, but your offense can't do anything, Tulane has shown that they can still win those types of games. So you need a combination of things. And UTSA's defense wasn't the most elite, but they made a lot of good things happen by creating turnovers, by creating disruptive plays that slowed down this Tulane offense. And if Temple's offense can find a way to capitalize on that, then you're in a good position to potentially win this game. And Keeler's done a great job. These are two good coaches going against each other, and these are two teams that are headed for bowl season regardless of what happens next. Well, potentially. Temple has the potential to do it. It's just doing so in the next 2 weeks is going to be challenging. You play Tulane this week, and then next they play North Texas on the road. That's another American Conference title contender right there. So in order to get 6 wins, you have to find a way. Now, that's where the last week against Army really stings because you were so close to being 6-4, and now you have to beat one of the two contenders to be able to make a bowl game. That's going to be a tough challenge, but this team, I think, is up for it. This team is shown that they can play with some of these good teams and show that they can potentially win some of those games. It just depends on how consistent they are. Because if they're the disciplined team that nearly upset Navy, then you're in a good position to win. If this is the team that struggled against ECU, then you're going to be in for a little bit of a longer game. But this is a big game. It's a big game for both sides. It has big implications for these two teams. And Tulane has work to do. If they're going to make a run at the college football playoff, they need to get better. John Summerall has said that, and it shows his focus, but it also shows his concerns for his team. If they're able to show consistency, their offense can create explosive plays, this game shouldn't be that close. But if Temple can hang around, and especially at home, Temple is a difficult team to beat. That environment is a different experience. It's very different than the UTSA experience, and it's going to be a challenge for Tulane to be able to make the American Conference title game. If they take care of business, they stick to their process, they'll be just fine. Otherwise, Temple is going to be in the running for an upset and get themselves to bowl eligibility.